Hi, this is Craig and welcome to another episode of Cruising Off Duty. If you've been following the channel, you know we're in the middle of a transatlantic sailing series, covering everything from the basics of provisioning to casting off and going out into the big blue Atlantic Ocean to do the 3,000 nautical mile passage from the Canary Islands to St. Lucia. We've been heading south trying to find some wind, and at this point we've crossed the 1,000-mile mark. We're about here, heading west, away from Africa. In this episode, we have this guy auditioning to be our latest crew member, hoping to get a free passage across the Atlantic. But since he didn't seem to want to pull his weight, and he seemed to have this propensity to poop all over our deck, we had to politely ask him to leave. But he just didn't want to take no for an answer. No matter how many times we shoot him away, he just kept coming back. You've heard us complaining in previous episodes there was a lack of wind. Well, this episode it got so low that it wouldn't even hold our wing-on-wing configuration together, so we had to break out the Spinnaker for the first time. So not only is this the boat that none of us have ever sailed before, but this is a sail plan that we had to learn to use on the fly. All this and much more is coming up in this episode of Cruising Off Duty. That's right, we're on our 7th day of this passage, and for almost all of it we've been outside of land. In fact, we've been hundreds of miles from land. We've seen the odd seabird that sleeps on the water, but with its long neck and its clawed feet, it didn't look like it was the type of bird that would want to swim. And since most days all we see is water in every direction for hours and hours, having this visitor was kind of fun, and we all got our cameras out, and it was kind of entertaining for a while. But after the novelty wore off, we realized all he was doing was pooping all over this brand new boat. So we decided to shoo him away, which would only work for a minute or two because he'd just turn around and fly right back. Soon he did not seem to be concerned about us at all. In fact, he'd try and walk into our hatches. As much as we shoo this bird away, he just keeps coming back. In fact, he steps right into our front opening hatch here and looks around at us. We're afraid he's going to step in and we won't be able to get him out. He will not leave our boat. We would shoo him away and we'd think he was gone. I'd go down to take a nap in my cabin and I'd look up and what do I get to see? Bird butt. This guy was really starting to become annoying. One hint of how this land bird might have gotten hundreds of miles out into the ocean was this weird fishing buoy way out in the ocean. You wouldn't think somebody would set a buoy this far out, but clearly they do. My only concern is hitting this thing in the dark. One way to get rid of this dirty bird was for all of us to be on the bow of the boat working, and with the lack of wind we had, we've been motoring recently, but we're running out of fuel. So it was time to figure out how to get the Spinnaker up. So we're looking at putting up the Spinnaker. Just have to figure out how it's set up for this boat. You see, this is a new boat for us. And we're all monohaulers. We're not catamaran people. So we had to figure out how the blocks work. Some of us, like myself, don't even have a Spinnaker on my boat. So this was kind of a learning process. But with all of the sailing experience on this boat, we figured it out. And one thing we found out is the sock that's supposed to snuff this Spinnaker was way shorter than the Spinnaker itself, which is something that needs to be changed.
Yeah, it is pretty short. That's what I was saying, yeah. Is it ever short? If we could have a still out of it, you can grab a still out of that.
You want me to take a still?
Just one to show this height. It's not short, it's half a sock. That's what John said.
Okay, ready to take a picture? 3, 2, 1. There we are.
The sock smell?
Now it's going to take a coordinated effort. People need to be on those sheets back there, right? When it comes out, you're going to pull in it a little bit. Just when that sock goes up, it should show with air. Right. It should just expand. Then you can pull in the sheet and make sure you got it on a winch because there'll be a lot of pressure. Okay. If it all goes to shit, I'll just bring the sock back down. Let's say that on camera today?
Yeah. No, all the good stuff stays in.
Yeah, that sock is like 8 feet short.
And I get to be just the cameraman. Everybody else has got a job to do.
Yeah, that's what I was.
It's very hot, eh, the sun? I want to put my...
Caribbean now, baby.
And the color of the water's changed. I don't know if you noticed.
Yeah.
It's not Caribbean Sea, but it's the latitude.
So, yeah.
17.
Ready?
You ready? Okay, I'm going to start hoisting it up. There we go.
All right.
Okay, Quasimodo, ring the bell. Ding dong, ding dong.
We now have a spinnaker completely out, which is nice.
Beautiful job.
Good job, guys.
Yeah, great.
See what speed we get. Hello all, we are on day 7 of this passage. Today on my shift, the afternoon shift, we're going to be crossing the 1,000-mile mark. And we have about 1,900 miles to go to get to St. Lucia. Today is also a milestone for us because we are finally sailing with the Spinnaker. We've been going downwind, wing on wing with the jib and Genoa combination, but the Spinnaker is definitely moving us along at a quicker pace. I'll get out from underneath the bimini so you can see the whole thing. Quite the large sail. So yeah, we're moving along 6.5 knots, occasionally up to 7 knots, going downwind with 12 knots of actual wind and probably under 6 knots of apparent wind because we're moving so quick. It's just an awesome sail. Now these things are very, very temperamental, like, because there's such thin material. You can almost see the sun right through the seams. It's so thin. And when it does vibrate from the wind, like if it flaps a little bit, it sounds a little bit. It reminds me a little bit of garbage bag material. It's so thin. So you got to be very careful the wind doesn't just all of a sudden pick up, because you can blow one of these Spinnakers right out. And they're a few $1,000s each. So I don't know. I think if I had this boat and I had the jib Genoa double furler combo, I might just stick with that, just because the Spinnaker makes me nervous. A, you got to go straight downwind, so you can't be, you know, not paying attention and the wind ends up being on your side, or you'll get this weird broaching thing going on. So you got to watch the wind angle very carefully, and you have to watch the wind strength very carefully. Yeah, if a freak gust comes up, you blow your Spinnaker out, you're out a few $1,000s, and that would really suck. So this guy has one on his boat, so we're going to use it, and they are very cool, but I don't know how often you'd really use it on your own boat. I know the people that we're sailing with say they have a Spinnaker and they use it about once a year. So if you're going to use your Spinnaker about once a year, probably not worth the money. Just stick with the big Genoa or a Jenniker or something like that that's furled in, and that's what I will do. Anyways, beautiful day. Look at the sun gleaming off the water behind the Spinnaker. It's a beautiful sight. Well, the other thing that happened today was kind of funny is we had this land bird land on our boat. It was quite clearly not a seabird. It had clawed feet, not webbed feet, and he was holding on for dear life to our boat. There was some fishing buoys out here, and I'm thinking what happened is this land bird followed a fishing boat out here to try and catch food off the fishing boat, and then when the fishing boat left, it didn't know how to get back to land. Saw us sailing by and decided we were the next best thing to land is to land on us. So that was our action for the day. Now it's been pretty much like this whole trip. Straight downwind, beautiful blue skies with just a few clouds, and wind from behind us. So hopefully we get this the whole trip. Right now, all hands on deck, because we're going to be taking down the Spinnaker before it gets dark, and the wind has actually picked up a bit, so we can definitely sail with our jib Genoa combo that we've been sailing with up till now. So I'll be here at the pilot station while everybody else is up taking down the Spinnaker, and I'll film it as we go. So fingers crossed it all works out. First time taking it down. That was easy. That was simple. Way easier than I was expecting it to be. Although the sock isn't quite long enough, right? Yeah, if you look over here, it might be hard in the sun, but the sock is much shorter than the Spinnaker itself, which it should be probably a little 8 feet longer. Okay, that was anticlimactic. That went down really easy with that sock. So. Sock's a little short, but it did the job. Douses it, you know, and there's a little bit at the end left out, but as long as it's doused, it becomes no longer a challenge to take it down. And as you can see, they're putting it in the front pool area. There's a little water tub in the front of this boat, and just sticking it in there so it's out of the wind. Easy peasy. That's it for now. And we're back to wing on wing. Beautiful evening. Okay, sun is about as good as it's gonna get, so I'll show it to you now. We still haven't quite got out of that area where there's a haze at the bottom, so the sun doesn't quite make it to the water, but still very pretty. We flew wing on wing through the night, but the next morning when the sun was up, we were back to the Spinnaker. It is definitely the sail of choice when you're going downwind and the winds are a bit lighter. Okay, here we are on day 8. Second watch of my day. Sound like a broken record, but we're going straight downwind. We've either had the jib and Genoa wing on wing, or we have the Spinnaker out. Makes for very, very comfortable sailing. We kind of wish it was a little bit more wind, but we've been saying that every day. We're sailing along at almost 6 knots, sometimes over, sometimes under. I'd say with the Spinnaker today we've been doing about 6. We'd like to do a little faster than that to get the miles through faster, but we'll get what we can take. Nothing really unusual to say about today. Nothing, no dolphins, no flying fish in our shower. Nothing unusual. One thing we do for the first time on the trip is sushi. Yummy, yummy.
And we are in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, a couple of 100 miles from the Cape Verde Islands. And our crew are really good in the galley. And today it's Sunday, so for a special treat, Alexandra is making us sushi. I've never made sushi before, so I'm pretty keen to see how it's done.
So the main ingredients that I use is cucumber, avocado, we have our sushi sticky rice, and of course some freshly caught pollock. So those are our ingredients today, and of course we were lucky enough to find these sushi nori sheets.
Oh, that's right. And we got those in Las Palmas, which was a nice surprise.
So Paul made one. It's a little mushier than the other one.
Mushier? I didn't roll it tight enough.
He's making it flatter and flatter.
Okay.
There you go. We've all said that's Paul's. Alex, the professionals. Hers are round.
Do another. Now you show us this way around?
Go,
Did I do it the wrong way around? Because they're not square.
We need action shots here.
They aren't square.
Good.
Well, you do this one and show me how you're really supposed to.
All right.
Cool.
There we go.
And the last one,
And then we're out of ingredients.
and that's
Did
it.
you roll that already?
I did.
I was going to take a picture of Paul's distracting me.
Oh, yes.
Paul's like, don't look at the perfection. Talk to me.
She doesn't know.
Well, thanks for showing us. Okay, our 8th day, is it?
Eighth day.
8th day on the boat, and it's a special occasion. We're doing sushi.
Alex made us
Yeah.
fresh
Excellent.
California roll.
Looks awesome. I love sushi. That's the end of this episode where I give you a little inside glimpse of what it was like to live on a moving sailboat. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. It helps the channel a lot because it tells YouTube to suggest it to more people. There's plenty of sailing goodness in the episodes to come, so hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any episodes. In the next episode, we realize that taking off from a moving sailboat really isn't that hard. It's the getting it back on board safely that's a pain in the butt. Even though I almost lost my drone into the ocean on more than one occasion, once I saw the footage, it was all worth it. A special thanks to the patrons that support the channel. Without them, this wouldn't be possible. Anyways, there's lots to look forward to. I hope to see you in the next one. And until next time, this is Craig signing off, wishing you safe cruising.